Hello, beautiful. Welcome to the She Sacral podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Christian. Let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. Hello, sacral beauties. Welcome to the She Sacral podcast, where we focus on burnout recovery through the power of sacred pleasure. Today, we're going to talk about a hard hitter episode right now, which is the pleasure code. So this is pretty much everything that I'm teaching you throughout this entire podcast. I'm really excited to talk about this, kind of like an overview of how pleasure can really heal your body. Now, we've talked a lot about the sacral codes throughout this series. We talked about the frozen code, the creative code, the expression code, so much. But the pleasure code is the one that most of us have actually been taught to fear, to postpone, and to earn. And so we're going to talk all about what pleasure really is, what happens when it gets suppressed, signs that your pleasure has been deprived, and how you can bring pleasure back into your life to help you heal from burnout. From an energetic perspective, what is pleasure? Pleasure is not just physical, but it represents emotional safety, creative flow, and sensory delight. The beautiful thing about pleasure when it comes to safety is that all the beautiful, light, loving things always arise that make us feel pleasurable when there is safety. I came across this video the other day that talked about how it's so important that you go out in nature, especially in the springtime, where the birds are chirping and you're hearing the little birds sing, right? Because our ancestors would actually use that as a way to know that it is safe to go outside. There are times of despair, there's times of danger. And so if birds were singing, that let you know that there was no threat. And so just hearing a beautiful bird song lets the body know on an energetic level that you're safe. The same goes for everything. When we feel good, the body melts naturally, says, okay, we're safe now. And when we're burned out, that means the body has been in survival mode for a really, really long time, especially when we're chronically burned out, because it takes time to get to a space of burnout. It doesn't just happen after you just had one stressful day. It happens when there's a repeated pattern over and over and over again. When you think or feel that pleasure is not that important because we're so focused on trying to either reach that goal, or we're trying to take care of something, or we just can't find the moments to take a break for ourselves to feel good. And when we do, it's through destructive ways of pleasure, whether it is addiction, it is through alcohol, it's through sugar, it's through, all the worst foods in the world, it's through doom scrolling, it's through even just literal self-destructive behaviors to try to shift the energy into feeling good, but you find that that burns off really fast. And a lot of us are in this space because the body wants to feel good. So you're going to start craving things so the body can feel good, even though it may not be healthy for you. And this over time starts to deteriorate the body even more. And so when we talk about the chakra system, that first chakra is going to be the root chakra. And this has everything to do with your primal energy of survival. We're oftentimes in our lowest forms of ourselves when we're very stuck in the root state. And so we try to take our pleasure instead of receiving it. So again, pleasure is not just a luxury or, oh, that's fun and dandy. It is a necessity. Energetically, pleasure also signals to your nervous system that you are safe. When you feel safe in your body, when your nervous system says, hey, we're feeling good, we're laughing, we're dancing, we are feeling lighter in our energy, that's going to slow down that cortisol. What does cortisol do? It starts to add on the stubborn weight gain. It starts to create heart palpitations and irregular heartbeats, and it puts you in this fight or flight mode, and it puts you in this constant state of survival and fighting and, this very rough negative energy. It shuts you down. It comes with so many other things. You start losing your hair. It's really not good. Cortisol really can start to deplete certain things. It has its place, right? It's beautiful that God has designed us to be able to defend against things that could threaten us, to have this alert system that's already built into our bodies. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Divine Creator, for instilling this system and not just having me here, knowing that I would probably endure some type of stress or threat. So thank you for protecting my body with this mechanism. However, when it becomes chronic and we're not listening enough to be able to change our lifestyles the way that we need to, that's when it becomes a problem. So if your nervous system feels good, then it starts to feel safe and the cortisol goes down. All of a sudden, the weight just starts to melt off. A lot of businesses out there don't really want you to know that. They want you to believe you got to work really hard to get that weight off. You have to restrict your body and not eat in order to lose that weight. You need to put chemicals and pills and shots and all kinds of things in your body just for you to lose that weight. It's so stubborn, isn't it? Well, this is the only way that you can do it because this gives us cha-ching, cha-ching in our pockets. But if they were to tell you, well, if you actually are able to change your lifestyle of the thing that is causing you so much stress, that is creating the emotional weight that is now manifesting into your physical weight, if you can find ways to add more pleasure that is true, sacred pleasure back into your day, that weight will just melt right off. They're not going to tell you that because they can't make any money off of it. Pleasure activates the parasympathetic system. It literally creates healing in the body. It creates healing, strong, healthy cells in the body. It increases connection in your body. It creates more neural connections in your brain through the form of pleasure. It creates more flow, literal blood flow throughout your entire body. Pleasure activates that. It is a divine healer. Your sacral energy thrives on pleasure. It fuels expression and magnetism and receptivity. Have you ever noticed that it's really hard for you to magnetize things to yourself? Is the thing that you're putting yourself out to attract, do you feel pleasurable and good and positive in that experience of attracting it? Or do you feel like you really, really want it? You're so desperate. Please give it to me. Please, 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 please. I'm going to fall apart if I don't have it. Or you try to force it, or you try to control it. We can put ourselves in this state of magnetism when we move into a space of pleasure because everything wants to feel good. So when you feel good, you start to naturally attract good experiences to you. Now, that's not to say that bad things can't happen if you feel good all the time. It's not saying that. But when we're in the mode of wanting to attract and magnetize things into our lives, but we're feeling this sense of desperation for it, we oftentimes repel it. And so pleasure isn't just something you enjoy, but it's something you absorb. It's something you immerse yourself in. It rewires your emotional baseline from that state of survival of the root chakra into feeling alive. That passion, the connection, the feel good, the emotions. Your sacral energy is kind of like the on switch for your spirit. Where, you have your body is functioning. It's like kind of a robot with the root chakra. But when the sacral energy gets turned on, there's emotion, there's feeling, there's color, there's life. Notice where the sacral energy is, that's where life is created. So why does pleasure get suppressed? Why do we tuck the need and desire for pleasure underneath ourselves? Why do we hide our need for pleasure? I've said this before, but you have cultural and religious shame that feeling pleasure is considered to be sinful or dangerous. which is truly just a form of control. You have productivity culture, that when you're experiencing pleasure or when you're focusing on feeling good, that this is wasteful or this is being lazy. But isn't it funny that they always follow it up with do something that you love? It's like, wait, which one is it? Emotional trauma often can make pleasure feel unsafe or unattainable. And if you've had generational patterns where women are taught to nurture others, but not nourish themselves, to not prioritize themselves, to not care for themselves, but to just take care of the family, take care of everyone else, and completely dismiss your needs. That's what makes a good woman, right? We hear that all the time. So those are the ways that we start to shut down that pleasure energy that we can have within us. And so some emotional symptoms that we've been deprived of pleasure is that we can be very irritable, we can be very numb, or we just have no interest in anything. We really become really apathetic to things. We can have low libido, low creativity, and our feelings of joy just really isn't there. You kind of just feel like you're existing in autopilot, but you're not present. You can have resentment towards your obligations or resentment towards the things that you've signed up to do. You don't want to do it anymore. In fact, it doesn't feel good to do it. I don't want to do it. And I'm stubborn and I'm mad. I'm sick of it. It's because there's been an imbalance that's there. Or if you constantly feel this sense of going through the motions, so you're just kind of just there, every day is just a blur into each other. I have felt all of these symptoms before. And I was like, I got to do something. I got to change something because this doesn't feel good. And I love to feel good. And so that was my first clue to really know that I was on the wrong path. A lot of times we use our moral systems. We say, oh, if I do good, if I'm a good person, that means I'm on the right path. But I was being good. I was a good person. And it doesn't mean that I stopped being a good person, but I was doing things that was not aligned with who I really am. I was doing things because I'm like, well, maybe this will make more money, or this will get more visibility, or this will do this or do that. And it still didn't even work. I still didn't get what I was looking for. But in that, I was shutting down all of my sense of pleasure. And I felt awful. It didn't feel good to me anymore to do the things that I was doing because it wasn't aligned with me. And so when you starve that sacral energy of pleasure, your life literally starts to taste like an obligation. So let's talk a little bit about how pleasure can be used as emotional nourishment. Your emotional body needs joy, just the way that your physical body needs food and needs water. Micro pleasures can start to restore emotional flow, feeling softness on your skin, listening to music that makes you move your body or sway your hips, having these moments of laughter or stillness or just being in awe, just seeing something so beautiful. Those are small little ways that you can begin to restore that emotional flow and come back to life again. And these moments will start to refill that inner well, your inner river, your fountain of flow, because you won't be pouring from depletion. So what's one small pleasure that you can savor today, not to escape, but to return? And of course, this is the whole entire podcast of finding ways of creating sacred pleasure back into your lives to recover from burnout and living a sacred pleasure lifestyle. And so if you want 30 days of pleasure rituals, then click down below and that will take you to the beautiful 30-day pleasure challenge where you get access to be able to explore different rituals to evoke and bring that pleasure back into your body and help you move out your space of burnout. And you can do it however you please, take however long you like. So now I want to talk about reclaiming sacred pleasure. Sacred pleasure means that you're intentional about the pleasure that you're experiencing. It's important to you. Sometimes it's a ritual that you do. And so when we ritualize that pleasure, you can light a candle maybe while you're journaling, or you can put on some music when you're cooking food, or you can touch your body in a slow, sensual, soft way, or with care, just at least with care. Sometimes I like to take the approach that I'm taking care of a baby. I'm not going to be rough and trying to rush everything. I'm going to be soft and gentle, not urgent. Eat slower, rest fully, and enjoy deeply. Let your body receive the thing that you're experiencing, not just go through it. And so this is just a reminder that pleasure is not a distraction, but it's a way that your body naturally resets itself. And to remember that your joy is sacred. It's not something that's selfish, as we've been taught. It's not sinful. It's not selfish. It's not bad to feel good. Honor your emotions, letting them out. If you haven't tuned into the expression code, we did a deep dive and talked all about just getting those emotions out. And it's a very thorough breakdown, so you can take your time with listening to that, maybe on a nice road trip or whenever you have to do something for maybe about an hour. It's great to listen to in the background. So I want you to have every sip of joy, every slow breath, every small delight, and this is how you feed your sacral energy back into life. And in the next episode, we're going to finalize this series with the last code, which is going to be the rebirth code. And this is how we are going to explore emotional shedding and endings and shifting those identities that we've held that keeps us from our sense of sacred pleasure. Thank yourself so much for showing up today, and thank you for tuning in to the She Sacral podcast.